Running a small business means I wear lots of hats. When I put on my hiring hat, I can count on LinkedIn Hiring Pro to make it easy. LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps manage my hiring workflow, puts my job post in front of a unique network of professionals, and matches me with the best candidates for my business. I can also share my job with my network. No other job site lets me do that. No wonder most small businesses say they'd use LinkedIn Hiring Pro again. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
Hey there, I'm Travis Hoyam, one of the hosts of Motley Fool Hidden Gems Investing. Each weekday on Motley Fool Hidden Gems Investing, we talk through the business news you need to know and the stories moving stocks on Wall Street. On weekends, we game plan personal finance strategies and dive into the industries shaping tomorrow and host the experts, authors, and executives that understand them. Tune in for insights and a long-term perspective on investing and, of course, stock ideas, plenty of them. To quote a listener, it pays to listen. Check us out and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Box of Oddities.
Wow, you look tired.
That's rude. But yeah, no, I am very tired. I'm very tired.
You look exhausted.
I am.
What's going on?
Well, so, the dog sitting.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And these dogs don't have any understanding of my normal schedule, or I think any human's schedule. They don't care.
They're dogs without day planners.
Yes. And it's gotten to the point where one of them, especially Lucky, will bark in the middle of the night to go outside.
Okay.
Not necessarily because he has to go out, because he's learned that if he goes outside, then he comes inside and he gets a treat. And also, I think he might be in the early stages of like sundowning, because he's very inactive during the day. And then at night, it's like, hey, what's up? How about this? Da-ga-da-da-da-da-ba-da-ba-da. And so anyway, he does this so often. Last night, I had an instance of phantom dog bark. I woke up, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I woke up startled out of a sleep to the dog barking. Okay, I got up, I put my pants on, I put my shoes on, and I went out in the living room, and there was Lucky sound asleep in his bed.
You were hearing things.
I'm starting to become like emotionally and mentally damaged by this. It is, I am so tired.
I understand. I've never experienced a phantom dog bark.
Yeah.
I have experienced a phantom phone buzz.
Sure.
That happens quite a bit.
Yep.
Especially when I have the phone in my pants.
Right.
I don't know what that means exactly, but I'm probably due for my next therapy session.
Gosh, that sounds rough.
While you've been dog sitting, I've been trolling through Facebook classifieds again.
Yes,
the
of course.
Marketplace. And I don't know if you're interested, but somebody has for sale an antique Bluetooth radio.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's actually one of those classic vintage Bluetooth pieces from, I think it was probably the Dickensian period.
Hard to find those.
It is. This one was coal-fired, but...
You know what I am looking for? And we can maybe check Facebook Marketplace, is one of those small Diet Pepsi bottles. We don't have to get into that, but it's what I'm looking for. You know, one of the little stumpy ones from the 80s.
Okay.
I need that in my life.
And the reason that I'm on there so much is I'm looking for vinyl to add to our collection.
Is your duty as my husband.
And it's amazing how vinyl has made a comeback.
Don't call it a comeback.
And that, LL, leads me to today's story. A vinyl record, we know, it works by carving tiny grooves into the surface that mirror the vibrations of sound waves. When a needle travels through those grooves during playback, it vibrates in the same pattern, and those vibrations are converted back into music or voices that were originally recorded. And that raises an interesting question. If a spinning record can preserve every laugh or whisper or song etched into its grooves, what about another spinning object covered in grooves?
You mean the earth?
How about ancient pottery?
Oh.
Could a potter shaping clay on his spinning wheel thousands of years ago have accidentally etched the sounds of the surrounding workshop into the vessel's tiny grooves, like a vinyl record?
I love this idea.
maybe a little snippet of conversation from
Pompeii?
3,000 years ago. Well, Pompeii would be 1,000 years,
I'm
yes.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Maybe something as simple as birds chirping outside the window while the potter is working. It sounds, of course, like science fiction, but for decades, it's attracted the attention of engineers, archaeologists, and acousticians.
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 Like acoustic
Yeah.
scientists types?
The question they asked wasn't whether ancient people had invented sound recording. It was whether they might have stumbled onto it by accident. Take a close look at a handmade clay pot, and you'll notice fine circular ridges wrapped around the surface. These marks were created as the clay spun on a potter's wheel beneath the maker's hands. If they remind you of the grooves of an old record, you are not alone. That resemblance inspired a remarkable question. If a phonograph record can store sound in the grooves on a spinning vinyl disc, could a spinning lump of wet clay have done something similar?
I don't mean to keep interrupting you, but I feel like it's hard for me to express how interesting to me this is. And I want you to know that I appreciate you because this is so cool.
It's pretty friggin' cool. That idea first gained serious attention in the late 1960s. That's not a surprise. Thanks to an engineer named Richard G. Woodbridge III. He proposed what he called acoustic archaeology. Woodbridge suggested that as a potter shaped wet clay, the tools touching the vessel might respond slightly to the vibrations of the surrounding air. Those microscopic movements, he argued, could become frozen in the clay as it dried. If this were true, then every pot made on a wheel might contain an accidental physical record of the moment it was created.
This is so neat. I hope this is true. Is there any record of this?
We're getting to it. To test the idea, he made experimental pottery and examined with sensitive equipment, and he found traces of mechanical sounds associated with the pottery making process itself, including the rotation of the wheel. His findings were intriguing enough that other researchers didn't simply dismiss the concept, they kept asking questions. Over the following decades, archaeologists revisited this hypothesis. Among them were Paul Ostrom and Mendel Kleiner, who approached the subject with careful experiments rather than grand claims. Could they resurrect the voices from antiquity, or any measurable vibration related to information at all? Their work suggested that under certain circumstances, pottery can indeed retain extremely subtle traces of mechanical vibrations created while it's being formed. Now, that's not exactly saying an ancient bowl contains a conversation, but it also doesn't say nothing. It established that the material itself can preserve more information than anybody imagined. Then that story escaped the laboratory, and in the mid-2000s, newspapers and websites around the world were reporting something very dramatic. Headlines claimed that scientists had recovered voices from 6,000-year-old pottery. Some stories described conversations, others mentioned hearing laughter, which I think would be awesome. Ancient laughter.
So cool.
A few implied that researchers had actually listened to people who had lived their lives long before the first pyramid was built. And that is irresistible, of course. Somewhere in a museum sits an ordinary clay jar. A scientist points some kind of sophisticated laser at the surface, and suddenly the room fills with laughter of people who've been dead for millennia. It's like archaeology colliding with a good ghost story.
That's wild.
Unfortunately, that's where the evidence becomes much less satisfying. As researchers began tracing those reports back to the sources, the remarkable recordings proved surprisingly difficult to find. The supposed conversations could not be verified. The famous laughter seemed to exist mostly in the retellings of the story rather than in published scientific results. Experts pointed out that the headlines had raced far ahead of the research, and in some cases the claims appeared to grow larger every time they were repeated. None of this means the original question, though, was foolish. Stop looking so dejected, sweetie. It gets better.
Does it?
In fact, it's an excellent scientific question because it begins with an observation anyone can make. Pottery does have grooves. Pottery does spin when it's being made.
Yeah.
Sound really can be stored on microscopic physical patterns. Those are all facts. For now, most physicists believe that recovering recognizable speech from ordinary pottery is unlikely, at least with today's state of technology. It does not rule it out, and because history is filled with discoveries that begin with someone asking a question everyone else considered ridiculous, sometimes the answer is no, and sometimes the answer is not yet, or not the way we imagined. Occasionally, the answer opens up an entirely new field of study, and that's what's happened here. Today, archaeoacoustics is a legitimate branch of archaeological research, and research continues. The field grew directly from those early questions about the pottery, even if it ended up taking a very different path. The research and experiments continue. As technology grows by leaps and bounds, who knows? Maybe they'll be able to uncover that. What they're finding right now is the problem is when they are able to detect traces of sounds that have been etched into pottery, it's usually the sound of the potter's wheel.
That's still pretty freaking cool.
It's still pretty freaking cool. But they're looking for ways to maybe somehow they could filter that out, improve the surrounding ambience somehow.
I would imagine also pottery that we would be interested in doing this research with is somewhat rare and or valuable. So you don't want to go fucking around with it in an effort to try to get sounds from it and possibly ruin it.
And you would have to use pottery that was whole.
Yeah.
You couldn't just take a shard because it'd be like a broken record. You'd only get pieces of it.
Right.
But I hope they keep looking.
Me too.
Because somewhere in a museum collection, there might be a vessel that gets examined with tomorrow's technology. Science has a habit of improving its hearing. Instruments become more sensitive. Techniques become more precise.
And with AI, wouldn't it be possible to just share a photo of the ridges and be like, what would this translate to in sound?
That's exactly what I thought too. It's like the scrolls, the carbonized scrolls they found in Herculaneum that were buried underneath of the volcano, Mount Vesuvius. Because they had been carbonized, they couldn't unscroll them, but they have used state-of-the-art technology, including AI, to virtually unroll them and read them. And I did an episode on that a while ago, so maybe something like that is in fact possible, something that we haven't gotten to yet, but will someday. Because questions that seemed impossible sometimes deserve another look, especially with technology growing as quickly as it is. If that day comes, I don't think the first sound anyone hopes to hear will be a king issuing orders or a philosopher delivering some kind of wisdom. I'd rather hear something normal, something simple from everyday life, like maybe somebody telling a fart joke, and then a room just erupting in laughter. Fart jokes are timeless. Mm-hmm. They last forever.
Yeah.
For just a moment, the distance between their world and ours would totally disappear. And I love that idea so much. So keep going, guys. My information comes from an overview of archaeoacoustics, culturalheritage.org, and heritage science.
That was very interesting.
Wouldn't that be so cool?
It was a real roller coaster because I was led to believe one thing, and then you just ended with, wouldn't it be neat?
Yeah, I know. But the fact,
once again,
it was so interesting to start with. I felt that would carry the story, just the concept of it. And they haven't disproved it. They just haven't been able to prove it yet. However, the systems are in place. The methodology is sound. No pun intended. And I can't wait to hear my first recorded sound from 3,000 years ago.
What do you think it'll sound like?
Probably something like that.
Yeah.
Since we moved back from Ecuador, I've stepped up my fashion game. Trying to buy clothes in Ecuador was a challenge for me because everybody's so tiny, you know?
Were known in the neighborhood as being melon head.
But in Spanish.
Cabeza de melón.
So since we've been back, I've been repopulating my wardrobe and updating it, and I've been doing it at Quince, and I love everything they have.
Your blue shorts that you got from Quince, they're just the right length, so you've got a little bit of that Magnum PI thigh going on, but not too much, and they always look good, even if I don't fold them right away. Just stay in the laundry for a while.
Yeah. The best summer pieces are the ones you end up wearing on repeat, and those shorts, one of them. Comfortable, versatile, and somehow right for almost every occasion, without the traditional retail markup.
I have a perfect linen dress that I got from Quince because it is lightweight, it's breathable, it looks good. I just keep reaching for it in my closet.
You get quality, you get affordability, and they also have bedding and bath products.
Quince isn't just clothes. But man, do I love their clothes.
Make your summer wardrobe feel easier. Go to quince.com/oddities for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns.
Now available in Canada too.
Yee.
That's QUINCE.com/oddities for free shipping and 365-day returns.
Quince.com/oddities. Well, if you know anything about us, you know that we have weird eyeballs.
We sure do.
And so it's important to us, if we're going to have to wear glasses, to look good.
And you know me, I'm frugalicious. So I will sometimes put off buying new glasses because I don't want to pay for them. But that is not a problem anymore because of Zenni. Zenni is an online eyewear shop. Prescription glasses, sunglasses, blue light lenses, starting at under $30.
And we have just ordered our Zenni glasses.
It was super easy. You go to zenni.com, pick a frame, upload your prescription, and they ship right to your door.
And they start at under $30.
No appointment, no store, no upsell at the counter. You don't have to watch someone wait for you trying on glasses.
Over 150,000 five-star reviews. And if you've never bought glasses online before, Zenni has a virtual try-on so you can see exactly what your frame is going to look like on your face. Or in my case, my big fat face. What I have found is that I can't wear the round frames. That makes my face look fatter. I wear the rectangular frames that are a little more oblong.
You look beautiful in anything that you put on your face. But Zenni sure does help. If your glasses are overdue for a refresh, now's the time.
Go to zenni.com/podcast and use code podcast15 for 15% off your first order.
The styles do sell out, so don't sit on it. That's zenni.com/podcast. Promo code podcast15.
And now, that thing in the middle.
Today's thing in the middle, a collection of incredibly strange things, and sometimes absolutely necessary things that you can buy online.
Sometimes they're a line of products, sometimes they're a one-off on eBay, but these are weird things that have actually sold online. Number 5, guinea pig armor. Did you see that picture?
Yes.
The little guinea pig is wearing like chainmail.
It looks just like Simone.
Oh, so adorable.
Rest in peace, Simone. We love you. Love you forever, Simone.
Simone N. Garfunkel. That was the name
Her
of
full name.
Yeah, the full name, yeah.
Number 4, in 2008, Ian Usher made a bizarre decision. He listed his entire life for sale online.
Wow. How did he structure that?
The items up for auction included his house, his car, a jet ski.
Everything he had accumulated.
Everything he had accumulated. It ended up selling for $399,300 Australian dollars.
Was he happy with that?
No, not really.
Number 3, an invisible statue. In 2021, Italian artist Salvatore Garo sold an invisible sculpture called I Am. He sold it for about $18,000 US at the time. The artwork consisted of no physical object whatsoever. Buyers received only a certificate of its authenticity and instructions for displaying the sculpture in an empty space measuring roughly 5 feet by 5 feet.
What? Ad space. That might not seem unusual, but it was on a woman's face. You may remember this. In 2005, a Utah mother became a walking advertisement to fund her son's education. She auctioned off her forehead for $10,000.
And she had to tattoo it.
Golden Palace.
Golden Palace.
Right
of
on her
course.
forehead.
Golden Palace. Number 1, Robert Downey Jr.'s used chewing gum. Opening bid $55,000.
Stop it.
It's true. We talked about this a little while ago. There was a soap opera star who had a hit record in the mid-'80s, Jack Wagner.
Yeah.
Remember, You're All I Need, or whatever that song.
All
Yeah.
I need.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
actually, the lyrics to that song really bother me because he says, all I need is a little more time to be sure how I feel. And then he ends the chorus with, 'cause you're all I need.
You got to make your mind up, Jack.
Really? Honest to Christmas.
During his press junket or press tour,
Junket.
he came on our morning show. And of course, he was a big name at the time, and he was this sexy soap opera guy and kind of a teen idol.
Oh, yeah?
And when he left his half-empty coffee cup. So we decided that we were going to take that and trade it. And then whatever we got, we'd trade it again, and we'd try to trade up as far as we could.
Yeah.
We got up to a pallet of macaroni and cheese.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and we gave it to the local food bank.
I love that idea.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
There was a guy in Canada, I think. He started with a paperclip and traded it all the way up to a house.
That's so cool.
It is.
You've got to have such ambition and focus for that kind of thing, though. I would
so.
trade like 3 times and then get bored.
As curator, I know why Jethro has issues with radio personality Rick Dees. I would tell you, but I signed a non-disclosure agreement. This is the Box of Oddities.
Well, as you know, we live just outside of Orlando, not far from the St. Johns River. Paprika spends most of her time there.
Oh, yes, the manatee that you track.
Yes, I have an obsessive relationship with a manatee named Paprika. I follow her everywhere.
Stalking seagoing mammals.
She's currently somewhere around DeLand. Now, the St. Johns River doesn't really behave like most rivers do. It flows north, and it's slow. Because of the flat nature of Florida, like it doesn't have a lot of slope to it, so it just toodles along, really. It's stained the color of sweet tea by tannins from cypress and oak trees, and on cool mornings, you might see it beneath sheets of fog. And there are places along the St. Johns River where you can travel for miles without seeing another person. Now, a lot of people think of Florida as subdivisions of theme parks and spring break, but most of Florida isn't that. It's swamps, it's marshes, it's cypress forests, incredibly dense, that even places where today, if you step off the trail, the woods would seem to swallow you whole. It's a lush, dense, kind of spooky place where you can't see very far into the darkness. And when humans can't see very far into the darkness, they see monsters. In 1849, travelers on the St. Johns River reported seeing something enormous moving through the water.
18 what?
49.
49.
The Examiner on February 18th quotes Captain Adams, whose crew was captivated by an immense sea monster that he thought maybe a serpent? Adams said the monster, quote, lifted its head, which was like that of a snake, several times out of the water, and at such times displayed the most of its body, exhibiting a pair of frightful fins several feet in length.
Wow.
The article described a dirty brown serpent so large, one estimated it at 90 feet long. 90 feet, which scientifically speaking is real big. Now, the newspaper assured its readers that Adams was a trustworthy type, that all circumstances seemed to favor the idea of the existence of sea serpents, though scientists had not yet characterized or classified them, but that residents found it absolutely unthinkable that Adams would invent such a story.
Well, that's fair.
Who do you trust? Me, because I'm trustworthy. To quote Michael Rappaport from Deep Blue Sea.
We're having a party here.
Oh, Super Chomp Summer continues. Stay tuned to find out which sea monster movie we're watching next. Now, Whether Adams had encountered a genuine mystery or a wildly exaggerated fish story or had simply maybe been drinking on the boat, who knows? It's tough to say. But it wouldn't be the last time this real big fish would be spotted, nor was it the first.
Well, I remember hearing stories about men who were at sea for months and months at a time, seeing a manatee for the first time and thinking it was a mermaid.
That's right.
I mean, I imagine after several months at sea, everything starts looking pretty good.
Really, when you see a manatee, it's tough to think about how you could confuse that with like a sexy siren type.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, there was a 1953 article in the Orlando Sentinel where former Florida State Attorney J.W. Jesse Hunter, who was the worst, and it's important to note this, not for this story in particular, just in general, he was the worst. He stated that in the 1910s, there were, quote, plenty of them, referring to these sea monsters in the St. John's.
All right.
And he referred to a group of them as Borinkus.
Huh?
Borinkus.
Borinkus. Okay.
Or Borinkus?
I've heard it both ways.
Sure. Though he's also been called Johnny, after the St. John's River, or Pinky, which was a nickname given in the 1970s. But most often, he's simply known as the St. John's Monster.
I want to call him Trevor.
You call him whatever you want, sweetheart.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Trevor.
I've missed you. Dog sitting's hard. Johnny's never been photographed, though it's reported that several people have expressed regret at not having cameras on them once they saw it. Someone once drew it in the 1970s. Would you like to see the photo?
You know I do.
Isn't that great?
Okay.
Can you...
It looks like a sock puppet. What, and they still haven't found him? That amazes me.
This whole time I've just been so excited to show you that picture. It's so hot in here. My face is so hot. I really like how you can see the texture in it.
Is that what that is?
Oh my God. Stop thinking about it. I'm not even looking at it anymore. So by October of 1953, the legend had become so widespread that the Sentinel reported an unusual bounty. Owen Godwin, owner of Godwin's Snake Village in Kissimmee, offered $5,000 for the creature alive, or $1,000 if someone brought it in dead. $5,000 in 1953 money?
Substantial.
Indeed. Owen Godwin had a very specific requirement. It had to be at least 30 feet long and sport a single horn. Now, as the Sentinel noted, at least 6 witnesses said that Johnny does have a horn, but most people report him sans horn. So what Godwin's motivation here and the need for a horn, where that comes in, I don't know.
I just think he doesn't want to pay the $5,000 and probably did this for publicity.
For Godwin's Snake Village in Kissimmee? Huh. The newspaper also shared one witness's unforgettable description of the St. John's monster. The beast that swims like a fish and walks like a dog, which somehow manages to be incredibly vivid and super unhelpful because no one else describes it as like a dog, so I don't know what's going on here. Now, in May of 1975, Jacksonville friends Wallace McLean and Eddie St. John were fishing on the St. John's River with several others. They had many passengers. When one of their passengers, Brenda, suddenly stood up, pointed at the water, and gasped. McLean said that a creature's head had risen from the water, quote, like a periscope. It turned and stared directly at the boat for nearly a minute and a half before slipping beneath the surface again.
If that really happened, that must have been the longest minute and a half they had ever experienced.
I would think so.
And then he disappears. That's not reassuring.
It's sure not. What was really interesting about this sighting was the color. McLean was quoted as saying, "It was the color of boiled shrimp." And if it wasn't pink, then I'm not sitting here talking to you.
Okay.
The others had equally vivid descriptions. Langley said it looked like the pictures of dragons, while Dorothy Abram thought it resembled a dinosaur with its skin pulled back so all of its bones were showing.
What was Brenda's recollection?
Brenda was just gasping the whole time. Gasp!
She's a gasper.
Yeah.
Why you would take a gasper on a fishing trip is beyond me.
Some people like a gasper. When I worked at that convenience store back in the day that had the adults only section behind the curtain, pretty sure there were some gasper movies back there. The sighting made enough waves that McLean said he received calls from scientists as far away as England. His favorite, though, came from an 80-year-old woman who simply wanted him to know that she believed him because she'd seen the same big pink creature herself 40 years before. Now, while sightings have become less common, the legend certainly hasn't disappeared. Amateur cryptozoologist Simon Smith has spent years collecting reports about the creature, which he insists has been misunderstood all along. First of all, according to Smith, Johnny is a she, something that he argues should be obvious to anyone who has ever studied marine science. He also dismisses the wildly inconsistent descriptions of her color, black, gray, brown, beige, even pink, pointing out that years of sun, salt water, sand, and algae could easily make the same animal appear very different from one sighting to the next. According to Smith, people are still seeing Johnny, even in recent years. Now, biologists have told newspapers over the years that the monster was probably a manatee. It's always a manatee.
That and ergot.
Never lupus. Marine Patrol Captain N.B. Newbold agrees. He's admitted, though, that there is a pattern in these sightings. Months could pass without a single report, and then suddenly his office would be flooded with calls from people convinced they had just spotted Johnny, the St. John's monster.
Interesting.
Now, when asked why there weren't official records of all of these sightings, Newbold said, "We keep records of manatees and other animals protected by state and federal laws. We don't have any laws protecting sea monsters."
Yet.
Whether this was a family of playful manatees, a trick of the light, or something that no one's been able to explain, one thing is for certain. The people along the St. John's River for generations keep looking into the water and seeing something. Is it Johnny? Who knows? But it seems like whatever is lurking there in the St. John's isn't quite ready to retire into legend just yet. Could you push that button all the way at the top on the left? Thank you.
You're welcome. Fascinating.
Also, did you get the link that I sent you?
I did.
Did you watch it?
No. I was busy.
This is your job. You agreed when you got married to me that you would read all of the things that I sent you and watch all the videos and reels.
That's odd.
And Instagram
I don't recall
posts and TikToks.
To any of that.
It was in your vows.
TheBoxofOddities.com. That's what we call this thing that you're listening to right now. It lands on your phone with a little plop 3 times a week. Boop. We appreciate you hanging out with us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Until then, keep flying that freak flag.
And fly it proudly, you beautiful freak.
And so, let it be known that the Box of Oddities belongs to you, and its fate is in your hands. We wish to offer our deeply felt gratitude and appreciation for your patronage. TheBoxofOddities.com. Copyright 2026, all rights reserved.